So, if you're a creator, you already know the public domain is an absolute goldmine of free content. But what if I told you that grabbing a pre-made collection of that same content could actually land you in some serious legal trouble? Today, we're going to dig into something called the collection trap, and more importantly, how you can safely use these incredible resources to your advantage.
You've seen these deals online, right? A massive hard drive just packed with vintage photos or classic films, all for one super low price. It feels like the ultimate shortcut, a treasure trove of content just waiting for you. But is it really the gold mine it seems to be, or is it a legal minefield in disguise?
And let's be clear, the promise of the public domain is totally real. I mean, it is packed with absolute gems. Places like the Library of Congress have these incredible collections, classic films, vintage posters, amazing photos, and they are genuinely free for anybody to use and build upon.
And that brings us to the big question. The individual items themselves are free. But when someone has already spent hundreds of hours sifting through everything, picking out the best of the best, and putting it all into one convenient package, what are you actually buying? And what can you legally do with it once you have it?
Okay, this right here is where so many well-meaning creators, especially people trying to sell their own digital bundles, get into some serious trouble. It's a really subtle trap, but it's also completely avoidable if you know what you're looking for.
So, you find it. The perfect collection. It has everything you need, it's all organized, cleaned up, ready to go. And you're thinking, this is amazing. I can just take this whole collection, maybe slap my own brand on it, and sell it myself. I mean, it seems logical, right? But that is a huge mistake, and it's one that could get you a very nasty cease and desist letter.
It all comes down to this legal idea called compilation copyright. You see, the law actually recognizes that the act of selecting and arranging stuff can be a creative work all by itself. So while the individual photos or movies are free, the collection, the specific way it's curated, can be protected by a brand new copyright.
So how can something be in the public domain and copyrighted at the exact same time? It sounds like a total contradiction, I know, but it all makes sense when you understand this fascinating idea called thin copyright. Let's break that down.
The best way to think about it is like a cookbook. The basic ingredients for a cake, flour, sugar, eggs, they're basically public domain. Anyone can use them. But an author's specific selection of recipes, the unique way they're arranged in the book, the little stories they add, that whole package is a new creative work. You can always use the ingredients, for sure, but you can't just photocopy the cookbook and start selling it as your own.
And this table here really lays it all out. Everything on the left, the individual photos, the raw text of a novel, single film clips, that's all free game for you to use. But the stuff on the right, the compiler's unique selection, the specific order they put things in, any new captions they wrote, that's their creative work, and that's off limits.
Now, of course, not every single collection gets this protection. The compiler's effort has to have at least a minimal spark of creativity. So just arranging a list of authors alphabetically, that's just mechanical work. It doesn't get a new copyright. But what if the compiler creates a list of the 10 most underrated poets of the Romantic era? Well, that selection required taste, judgment, creativity, and that specific list could be protected.
Okay, so you've bought one of these collections. How can you legally use the materials that are inside it without stepping on the compiler's copyright? Well, there's actually a pretty simple workflow that will keep you totally in the clear.
Here is your 3-step playbook. First, do your own homework. Don't just take the seller's word for it. Double-check that each item is truly in the public domain. Second, you have to extract only the raw materials. Think of it like taking the flour and eggs from the cookbook author's kitchen, but leaving their precious recipe book on the shelf. And finally, this is the most important part, you have to become the new creator. Make your own selections, put them in a new order, and add your own unique presentation.
The bottom line, and I can't say this enough, is this. You have to honor the compiler's creative work by not copying it. Use the raw materials they gathered as a fantastic starting point. It's a huge time saver, no doubt. But then it's your turn to add your own creative layer on top. And this isn't just about avoiding a lawsuit. This is a fundamental shift in how you should think about this. You're not just a reseller of old stuff. This is your chance to become a curator, an editor, a creator who adds new value to these timeless works.
I absolutely love this quote from a U.S. federal court case. It just perfectly captures the whole spirit of this thing. The public domain is a common wellspring. It's this amazing shared resource that we can all draw from to create brand new things. It's the foundation, not the finished house. And just look at the commercial power of this idea in action. All of these were massive hits, and they were built by adding a new, creative twist to public domain works. Seth Grahame-Smith didn't just republish Pride and Prejudice, he added zombies. Elvis's famous Love Me Tender is a completely new take on the old public domain folk song Aura-Lee. They didn't just copy, they created something totally new. So the next time you see that super tempting hard drive full of free movies, don't see it as a finished product you can just resell. See it as a palette of colors, a library of sounds, a cast of characters just waiting. The raw materials are all there and they're waiting for your unique vision. So the only question left is, what will you create?